Hi, Happy New Year. This is number 1 of 20 videos, 5 minutes per video, working around different parts of the body or different regions of the body, so that if you only have 5 minutes to do something in the day, you can just pick a part that you feel like working on and get going. Now, because I'm known for talking and 5 minutes is really hard for me to do, I'm just going to put my timer on so that I know when I'm running out of time and when I need to shut up. So we are going to work on today toes. So the first thing I want you to do is find a way to be able to hold onto your toes, and just take your big toe and gently pull it and let it release. We're going to do that 2 more times, and we're going to go through each toe. So as soon as you've done, move on while I keep talking. So if you have toes that have begun to kind of claw around a little bit, this is a good routine to get into, just to see if you can start to create some joint space, pull out some of that soft tissue that's getting molded into a very specific shape. Now, I'm not going to spend long on anything that I'm doing because I'm on the timer, but if you feel like something's beneficial or it makes sense to you, then you could just pick that one thing and concentrate on that for a few weeks. It's always good to remember, however old you are, it's taken you that many years to have the body part you have. So expecting to change it in 5 minutes, you might get lucky with something and it changed that quickly. You might have to be more patient. So then we're going to go back to the first foot, and I want you to try and make sure that you can clearly see the big toe joint. If you have a bunion, you'll know exactly where it is. You're going to pull your big toe out long, and then you're just going to circle that toe and see what's the biggest circle that you can create. Now you want to see, and it's very hard to show you this on camera, but you'll be able to see that there's some motion happening at that big toe joint. You don't want this where you're just circling the top part of the toe. We're really trying to get the mobilization here, and then reverse it. And then we're going to do that through each of your toes. And again, we're just going to go 3 times one way, 3 times the other, but I want you to keep that little bit of traction so that you're putting a bit of space into the joints, and then seeing if we can get movement at the place that is sometimes very stuck down right at the base of the toe in the ball of the foot. And this is important because when you walk, every single toe should be able to take itself through a specific range of motion, and there's no toe that's not important. Every single toe is. And the big toe is the one that I most often see very locked down in people. That's the toe that you use to push off into the next step. So every single toe is important, but I would definitely be making sure that the big toe didn't get itself really stuck down. That's going to be tricky if you've had that toe pinned. Some of these circling things might not work for you. You just do what you can. And then you're going to go back and see whether you can thread your fingers through every single one of your toes. So you make like a little, I don't know, here's a steeple or whatever that rhyme was. But just to create a little bit of toe space. And if your toes are not used to this, cramp may set in really, really quickly. Otherwise, you might be able to sit and watch half hour of TV or read your book with one hand tucked between your toes. You might want to get really fancy. We're going to change legs and sit with each hand tucked between each toe. That could be an interesting little configuration to try and get into. But again, this is just to try and separate the toes if you have those kind of toes that are stuck together, or you can buy the socks that separate the toes. Those are also a really great thing. Okay, so we've spent a bit of time suppling up the toes. Now we're going to see, can your big toe lift and lower itself? And some of you who work with me will be groaning already because you know what the answer to that question is. So you could hold down these little toes and just lift and lower your big toe. If there's still no sign of life in the big toe, hold down the little ones and manually pick the big toe up and set it back down. This is not you picking up your big toes. That's you rolling the feet out of the way. So you want to avoid that. You want to make sure the foot stays where it is and the toe joint lifts. And then you do the same with the little toes, and you can see that my baby toes still have some work to be done on them. But again, you want to avoid here the foot rolling in, because that's not the toes having the strength to lift themselves. That's you just messing about with your toe, with your foot configuration to get the toes to lift. And then if you get real fancy, you can pick them all up and then lay the toes down one by one by one. I'm working on being able to pick them up one by one by one. That's still a work in progress. But all of these things will help you to have more mobile toes. All right, see you tomorrow for part 2.